My parents gave my sister a villa, left me a parking lot. Here's what I did. Hey guys, tonight we dive into a story that's bound to make you think twice about the value of family, or the lack thereof. Picture this. You're standing there, watching your sister smile as your parents hand her the keys to a lavish villa, everything she could possibly want. And then, there's you, standing in an empty parking lot. Not even a thank you for all the years of hard work you put into the family. Oh, but wait, it gets better. Your parents, in their infinite wisdom, look at you and, with a casual grin, say, "You can always sleep under the stars." And just like that, the smirk on your sister's face feels like a punch to the gut. So, before you get comfortable, take a moment to like the video and subscribe, but only if you genuinely enjoy what I do here. I'd love to hear where you're tuning in from, so drop your location and local time in the comments. Now, dim the lights, maybe turn on a fan for that soft background hum, and let's ease into tonight's journey together. Remember that empty parking lot? It wasn't just an eyesore, it was a symbol of everything your parents never seemed to care about when it came to you. But what if that same empty space could hold the key to something bigger, something that, just maybe, could change everything? As you stand there staring at that vast, empty lot, the words your parents threw at you, "Sleep under the stars," linger in the air like a bad smell. How could they? You've worked so hard your whole life, yet here you are, cast aside like some afterthought. And your sister with that luxury villa, the one with the infinity pool that probably cost more than your entire year's salary, she doesn't even appreciate it. But you, in that moment, have a choice. You could sit there, stewing in your anger, letting their careless words continue to echo in your mind. Or you could do what you've always done. Turn things around. Historically speaking, there's always been that one rebellious figure in a family who just refuses to be overlooked. The youngest sibling, maybe the outcast or the underdog, who rises against all odds and shows everyone who the real star is. You've heard those stories before, like when people talk about how Walt Disney was fired from a newspaper for lack of imagination, or how Oprah was told she'd never make it in TV. So what if you weren't the golden child? Maybe this is your moment. The key to turning this empty lot into something profitable? It wasn't about buying fancy things or flaunting luxury. It was about vision. What if you could take this space, so full of wasted potential, and turn it into a place where people wanted to be? A place where people could escape from their daily grind and find peace. Could you do it? Only time would tell. You begin to pace around the lot, the gravel crunching beneath your boots, feeling a strange sense of determination slowly rising within you. Sure, it's not much right now. A plain, open space with nothing but the dull hum of the city in the distance. But what if it could be more? You've always been the one to think outside the box, and this empty canvas could be your masterpiece. Your mind starts to race, thinking about all the possibilities. A pop-up camping ground, a place for outdoor events, maybe even a tiny house village. The idea hits you like a bolt of lightning. Why not make this lot into a temporary escape for city dwellers who need a break? You could set up small tents, offer small but cozy amenities, and give people an experience they can't get anywhere else. A chance to sleep under the stars, in luxury, but not at the cost of an extravagant villa. It's the perfect combination of simplicity and comfort. Plus, people are constantly looking for unique ways to disconnect. The market is there. You could almost hear the sound of money pouring in. But more than that, you feel something else. Respect. Not from your parents, not yet, but from yourself. You've taken something they dismissed and turned it into a thriving business idea. You're no longer just the forgotten sibling. You're someone who sees opportunity when others only see emptiness. It feels good, really good. But the real challenge lies ahead. How would you get started without any initial funds? You'd have to figure that out too. But for now, the dream is alive. The next morning, you wake up with a renewed sense of purpose. You didn't just dream up a business idea last night, you've committed to it. The empty parking lot now seems like a hidden gem, just waiting to be turned into something extraordinary. You grab your phone and start researching. What do you need? What's the cost of setting up a few tents, maybe some basic amenities like portable restrooms, and maybe even a little solar power to make it more eco-friendly? You're deep into the research, browsing ideas and prices when your phone buzzes with a message from your sister. It's a simple text, but it sends a jolt through you. "I miss you. Let's talk soon." She doesn't know what you're planning yet. She doesn't know that you've just started to carve out your own place in this family dynamic. And part of you feels guilty that you've been so focused on this idea that you've been avoiding her, especially since she's been so caught up in her new luxury villa life. But there's also a strange thrill that comes with knowing you don't need her approval anymore. The thought nags at you, though. What if she knew what you were up to? Would she still see you as the unimportant sibling, or would she be impressed? For now, you push the thought aside. You have a plan, and you're going to see it through. You pull out a notebook and start sketching. This parking lot, a little awkward and uneven, starts to transform in your mind. Maybe you'll rent the land out for small events at first, just to make a few bucks, but eventually you'll make it bigger, maybe even self-sustaining. The excitement of your new venture fuels you throughout the day. You've mapped out ideas, researched everything from zoning permits to local laws about running a business on your land, and even started to calculate a budget. This isn't just a dream anymore, it's happening. But then, just as the evening settles in and you sit down to review your progress, you feel a familiar pang of guilt. You remember your family, particularly your parents, and how their words still echo in your mind. You can always sleep under the stars. They'd laughed when they handed you that empty parking lot. You almost laugh now, thinking about how little they took you seriously. They probably thought you'd sulk, maybe even leave the lot abandoned and forgotten, just like they assumed you would do with anything they didn't spoon-feed you. You know that's what they expected. But you also know that's not who you are anymore. Sure, it stings a bit that they still treat you like the other child, the one who never got the grand gifts or the shiny opportunities. But there's something about that sting that pushes you forward. You look at your phone again and scroll past your sister's message. She's probably oblivious to what you've started. She probably still thinks you're the one stuck in the dust of their inheritance game. And yet, you can't shake the sense that something is shifting. You're doing this on your own. Not because they told you to, but because you've decided to. You know you're building something bigger than just a business. It's about proving to yourself that you don't need their approval to succeed. The days turn into weeks, and with each passing one, your business begins to take shape. The empty parking lot, once a symbol of disappointment and neglect, now hums with potential. You've built a parking service that is thriving. You've expanded the area to accommodate small businesses that use your lot as a staging area. You've even turned the corner into a small but respectable food truck area, something that has caught the attention of locals. And yet, it's still not enough. The echo of your parents' laughter lingers, and with it, the quiet pride that you're proving them wrong. The longer this goes on, the more you realize something. That parking lot, that empty space they handed you, has become your platform. You're not just filling the lot with cars. You're filling it with purpose. Your ideas are slowly blossoming into something that matters, something that's beyond their narrow view of success. Your parents are finally starting to notice, though. One afternoon, you receive a call from your mom. She wants to check in. It's casual at first. "How are you doing? Have you been eating right? Are you managing everything okay?" But as the conversation wears on, you realize that she's fishing. She's asking subtle questions about the business, about your success. It doesn't take long for you to realize they want in. They probably want a share of the profits, you think. And the thought strikes you with an odd sense of satisfaction. This is the moment you've been waiting for, when they finally want to know what you've built, when they finally recognize the effort you've put into making something out of nothing. They've seen the photos, heard the buzz, and now, like clockwork, they're showing up. The conversation with your mom lingers in your mind, unsettling and almost comical. As the days pass, you can't shake the feeling that something has shifted. You've been expecting this for a while. It was only a matter of time before they came knocking, wanting a piece of the action. You know exactly what they're doing, watching, waiting for the right moment to swoop in, trying to claim ownership of something they never thought could be anything but a failure. But here's the twist. You don't have to play by their rules anymore. You've spent too long feeling like you had to prove something, and now, that sense of validation is gone. It doesn't matter if they want a share. What matters is what you've built, and the satisfaction of knowing that it's yours. The next time you see them, it happens exactly as you expect. They sit down at your kitchen table, their eyes darting from the business cards you've arranged neatly on the counter to the glossy photos on the wall of your now thriving lot. Your dad, ever the pragmatist, is the first to speak. "So, how's the business going?" he asks, but there's an undertone, a hint of calculation behind his casual tone. You smile, leaning back in your chair, pretending to consider his words. "It's doing well," you reply nonchalantly. "Better than expected, actually." You watch them carefully, knowing they're waiting for you to reveal your next move. But you've got nothing to give them. Not yet. For now, you're content to let them wonder, to let them stew in the uncertainty of what you might do with this success. The weeks roll by, and the business keeps growing. You start to get calls from unexpected sources, people interested in what you've created, wanting to invest, collaborate, or simply take a look. The buzz is real, and it feels incredible. Yet despite the new energy around you, your parents' expectations hang like a dark cloud. It's a strange sensation, knowing that something you've built from the ground up, something you've nurtured, is being eyed by the very people who once dismissed it. The calls keep coming, but you don't take them right away. Instead, you let them simmer, letting the guilt slowly creep in. But then, one day, something clicks. You don't need their approval anymore. You don't need their validation. You've done it on your own, in spite of their lack of faith. Sure, it may have started as a way to prove them wrong, but now? It's bigger than that. It's about you, and it's about the freedom you found in taking ownership of your own success. At the next family gathering, you notice your parents' eyes linger on you a little longer. Their smiles are strained. The conversation is polite, but you can feel the weight of the unspoken words hanging in the air. And yet, you sit there, calm and collected, knowing they're trying to figure out what comes next. How much longer until you decide to share in the fruits of your labor? You don't give them an answer. At least, not yet. For now, you continue building your empire, brick by brick, every move you make a testament to your resilience. The day comes, and it's exactly as you expected. Your parents call you over to their place, a formal invitation of sorts, one that carries a hint of tension in the air. You walk in, feeling the weight of the room shift when you enter. They're sitting at the dining table, looking serious, more serious than you've ever seen them. It's like they've rehearsed this moment, and now they're ready for the conversation. "Sit down," your mom says with a tight smile, motioning to the empty chair across from her. "We need to talk about your business." A chill runs down your spine. This is it, the moment you've been anticipating, the moment when everything will be put on the table. You sit down, heart thumping in your chest. But you're calm, at least on the outside. "So we've been thinking," your dad begins, clearing his throat. "You've made quite the success out of what we originally thought was a phase. But, well, you're doing well, and that's admirable." You nod, keeping your expression neutral, not letting them know how much you've been waiting for this moment. They continue, hesitant but clear. They want a share, a piece of what you've built, a slice of the pie, even though they never believed in it to begin with. As they talk, you feel that old fire burning inside you again. But this time it's different. You've grown, you've learned, and now you see things clearly. You realize they don't truly understand the value of what you've built, not just in terms of money, but in personal growth. You're not about to let them take what's yours, no matter how they justify it. The line has been drawn. The conversation drags on, but you feel less and less affected by it. You're no longer the kid who's afraid to disappoint. You've built something on your own, something that requires sacrifice and grit. The more they talk, the clearer it becomes. They don't get it. They can't understand how you turned an empty parking lot into a thriving business. It's not just about the money, it's about proving to yourself that you're capable of creating something from nothing. As your parents drone on, a quiet resolve settles in your chest. You're not here to argue or fight. You've already made your decision. But they keep pushing, asking how much they could get, or how you could split things, or how they could at least help more now that you've succeeded. But the more they speak, the more they reveal their underlying assumptions, that your success is somehow theirs to claim too. They remind you of the car they gave you, the villa they gave your sister. The words sting, but they don't hurt like they used to. You realize just how far you've come and how much you've grown since those first painful moments. You smile to yourself. You know what? You say, finally breaking your silence. I think I'm doing just fine on my own. You'll have to find a new way to feel involved. Your parents sit in stunned silence. The conversation has turned, and it's no longer about what they want. It's about what you've built. You can feel the tension in the air as your parents digest your words. There's a long, heavy silence. You know they're shocked, perhaps even disappointed, but it doesn't matter anymore. You've crossed a line that you can't uncross. That moment when you took your first step in this new life, when you decided to make the best of an empty parking lot, is now a part of your history, and you can't go back to that uncertain, scared version of yourself. They don't understand how powerful it is to create something from nothing, to build your world out of thin air. They think that success must always come with their approval, with their intervention. But the truth is, your success is yours and yours alone. You don't need their validation, and frankly, you don't even need their opinions on how you should run your life. Historians still argue whether the idea of self-made success is real or just a myth. There's a debate around whether true success can ever exist without the help of family or privilege. But in your case, it doesn't matter. You've made it, and now you're seeing the way they want to benefit from your hard work. You lean back, taking a deep breath, and glance at the parking lot you turned into something meaningful. It's more than just a business now. It's a symbol of everything you've done alone, and how you've learned to thrive without anyone's help. They're still looking at you, and the silence is thick, but for the first time, you're not afraid, you're proud, and you're done asking for permission. As the days pass, the truth begins to settle. Your parents don't get it, but that's their problem now, isn't it? You can hear their murmurs about how they always wanted the best for you, but now you wonder if that's just their way of saying, "Why didn't you need us to give you everything?" Every success you have feels like a little victory, but it's bittersweet. Your parents aren't exactly cheering from the sidelines anymore. You can't help but notice the disapproving glances from your mom, the quiet judgments from your dad, and the passive-aggressive comments about not knowing where things went wrong. It's almost like they regret ever offering you that empty parking lot to begin with. But you know better now. You know that regret is just another way of admitting they underestimated you. The strange thing is, as much as you've grown, there's still a part of you that wants their approval. You still want them to look at you with pride, to see that the empty lot wasn't a punishment, but the start of something huge. But then, a new realization hits you. You never needed them to be proud of you to make this work. Historians still argue whether parental expectations shape our futures, or whether we're destined to create our own paths regardless. Some say that what we seek most is validation from the people who raised us, and that's true for so many. But you're beginning to see that you don't need their approval. You just need to keep moving forward. The more you grow, the less you find yourself looking back. This life you're building, it's yours, not theirs. And that's the most empowering thing of all. The success begins to pour in, slowly at first, but then with a steady rhythm that feels too good to ignore. You've taken that empty parking lot and turned it into something sustainable, something people can depend on. It's a modest start, but the changes you've made, adding new services, maintaining a professional air, suddenly have the attention of more than just your old neighbors. Word begins to spread, and before long, people from all over town are seeking you out. It feels like a strange sort of redemption. That parking lot? It's a symbol now. You're not just filling up empty spaces. You're filling up your own life, making it something you're proud of. But what stings is the realization that your parents never saw this coming. In their eyes, you were still the person who couldn't do anything right. They still saw that empty lot as a joke. They didn't understand that you were laying the groundwork for something much bigger than their limited perspective could ever allow. Yet, despite everything, there's no sense of bitterness. You realize something crucial. You didn't need their permission. You didn't need them to see it, to believe it. You've succeeded because you believed in yourself when they didn't. And now you're reaping the rewards, carving a new path that doesn't require anyone's validation. Historians still debate whether true self-reliance can ever be fully achieved without a network of supporters. But you're starting to believe that maybe they were wrong. You've done this on your own. No thanks to them. And maybe, just maybe, you feel a little bit of satisfaction knowing that, for once, you were right. As the months go by, you settle into your new routine. The parking lot, once a barren stretch of asphalt, is now alive with purpose. It hums with activity, and there's an undeniable pride that fills your chest every time you pass by. Your business isn't just a success, it's proof of your resilience. Yet, even as you stand in the glow of your newfound accomplishment, there's a nagging feeling in the back of your mind. Your parents never really acknowledged what you've done. They didn't apologize, didn't admit they were wrong. Instead, they've watched from a distance, as if hoping you'd stumble just so they could say, "We told you so." But you haven't stumbled, you've thrived. One day, as you're locking up for the night, a familiar car pulls into the lot. It's your parents. You haven't seen them in weeks, and even though they've been distant, you find your heart rate picking up a little. It's strange, but you've grown accustomed to living without their opinions hanging over you. They step out of the car, looking around. There's a hesitation in their eyes, as if they're unsure whether they should be proud of you or still disappointed. You brace yourself for their judgment, but instead they approach you, hands in pockets, offering a strange compliment. "You've done well," your father says, his voice strangely soft. "We didn't think you could." It's almost too much to hear. But then, the sting of their disapproval fades into something else. You realize they're not going to change. But you have. Historians argue whether parents ever truly come to terms with their children's independence, or if they always struggle to see them as equals. But in this moment, you know one thing for sure. You no longer need them to define your worth. You've earned that on your own. As the days slip by, you find that the parking lot has transformed not just in physical space, but in the way it reflects your inner journey. It's almost poetic. The empty asphalt that once felt like a symbol of abandonment now stands as a testament to your hard-earned success. You're no longer the person who needed their approval. You've become someone who carved a path, even in the face of criticism. Your parents, despite their initial dismissals, start to show up more often, lingering just outside the lot, watching you from their car or the nearby coffee shop. It's clear they can't quite accept that you've made something out of nothing, and yet, their presence is an admission of sorts. They can't help but be drawn to your progress, even if they're too proud to ask how you did it. One evening, as you sit on the steps of the now thriving space, your phone rings. It's your sister. She's calling from her villa. She's not calling to check in or make amends. No, she's calling to gloat. The tone in her voice is unmistakable, and you can almost hear her smile through the phone. "You know, you could have had this life too," she says with a hint of condescension. "If only you'd followed their advice." You laugh softly, but there's no bitterness in your voice. You've let go of that. "Yes," you respond, "but I'm happy with my own way of getting there." As the call ends, you sit in silence, watching the last light of the day fade. It's not the life your parents or your sister imagined for you, but it's yours, and you've earned it. Historians still argue whether the concept of success is ever truly objective. Some believe it's about wealth or status. Others argue it's the peace found in independence. As you look at the parking lot, you realize that for you, success is defined by freedom. The freedom to build something of your own, and to prove, quietly, that you can stand tall, no matter what others think. Now as night settles in and the world quiets around you, You breathe deeply. You've won the game, not because of their validation, but because you found your own way.